introduce yourself so the people know who you are, what you do, because I already know.
Yeah, man. Well, first off, shout out to Shakur, my brother, for connecting us. He's the man. Teammate of mine, really close friend, and yeah. But Bo Nickal, pretty much wrestled my whole life. Went to Penn State University, graduated in 2019, and a couple years after that, started training professionally in MMA, and now I'm in the UFC. I think 9-1, and yeah, just really love what I do. I enjoy fighting. It's a blessing to be able to train every day and you know pursue that as a career. And outside of that, love spending time with my family. I have two young boys at home, so spending time with my wife and them is something that I do. Anytime I'm not training, that's what I do. Other than that, just being outdoors, spending time with friends, and that's kind of what I'm interested in. But the main thing right now that I'm putting a lot of time and effort into is my fighting career, which is a lot of fun. So hours and hours every day, just trying to improve and get better and perfect my craft. So that's something that I'm in pursuit of, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we appreciate that. A lot of people don't know, but you were born in Colorado, correct? And ended up
Yes, sir.
moving to Texas. So, I did my research, of course. You were 183-7 in high school, winning 3 state championships, and you got 131 pins. That is ridiculous. It's like hearing you and Shakur. It's like, bro, how? Like, how are y'all able to do this, bro? Like this,
Right.
because where I'm from, North Carolina, wrestling isn't that big. Of course, we have some wrestlers, but it's not that big. Mainly, it's football, basketball, things of that nature. So, how big was it in the state of Texas where you live?
Yeah, between my grandpa and my dad, them having, being wrestling experience and being coaches themselves, it kind of got me into the sport early, and it was something that I was really interested in and passionate about. And I naturally had some talent, early, like when I was 6, 7, 8, just winning matches. And I think because I was able to win some matches early in my career and at a young age, it helped build my confidence and helped me feel like that was something that I could pursue at a high level. And so, I was never the kid that was the number one guy like in the country, but I always wanted to be that. So I was always very motivated, and that translated to discipline and effort and determination to, keep improving and getting better and achieving my goals. And so even though, I wasn't necessarily in a area that was known for wrestling, I would, my dad and I would be in the car, road trip, traveling to tournaments all around the country, traveling to try to just get competition or to learn and do camps, things like this. So that was something I just put so much time and effort into at a young age that I was able to, just keep getting better, keep improving. And then once I got to Penn State, I really felt like I started to understand wrestling and really get better and make big improvements. So yeah, I think overall, the reason that I've able to do what I've done is because I really enjoy it. I love it, and it's fun for me. And that's kind of carried me through where I am today. I think that it's a tough sport. So if you don't really love it, then it's hard to like keep at it and stay disciplined and stay dedicated to it. But for me, I feel just blessed that I really have a lot of passion and enthusiasm for it.
Okay, and one thing I heard that you were talking about is the work. I feel like nowadays, people my age, because I'm 21, around my age, a lot of people fall in love with the social media. They fall in love in fast money, things of that nature. But
Yep.
it's the work that gets you there. And I just want to know, what did that work look like? Because I
Yeah.
played football and basketball in high school, and I know football. It's the ultimate. To me, it's the ultimate team sport, because if one piece doesn't work, everything can just fall apart. Basketball, one player might be able to score 40, but if the other person can't go get that rebound, you might lose by 2. So what does it look like when you're training just for yourself and by yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely different. For me, I think I benefited a lot growing up because I played other sports as well. I played football, I ran track, I did baseball. And so I think socially that really benefited me. But as far as the work that I put in, I always felt like wrestling for me was what I took seriously. I would play football during football season or, play baseball, stuff like that. But I was always wrestling. So even when I'd be, football practice, I would go like a typical day for me in high school. Like when I played football, I'd be wake up, lift at 6 a.m., get some food, go to school, football practice from, 2:30 or 3 to 5. And then at 7 p.m. I would hit wrestling. So like, it was something that for me, it was just all day, all the time, 24/7. And I just felt very motivated. It was like, I remember times coming up where it was like just me and my dad in the wrestling room and no one else. And he would have me, doing squat jumps and push-ups and pull-ups. And he would put a band around my waist and I would do drills, like doing shots across the mat. And it was just us there. And I remember visualizing like winning tournaments or visualizing beating certain guys and things like that. And so I felt like I just always felt very motivated. It was very intrinsic to me. So the work that I put in, it was hard work, but I knew that if I stayed dedicated to my craft and I put the work, I would get the results that I wanted. I think a lot of people, the hard part about work is there's a disassociation between the result you want and the work that it takes to get there. I think people see social media, as you mentioned, and they see the result. They don't realize everything it takes to get that result. It looks like, oh, it's just instantaneous, or, oh, in my head, like some people are naturally gifted and some people aren't. And the people that are naturally gifted win, the people that aren't don't win. And that's just a lie. Like that's just not true. It's the people that put in the work. It's the people that put the time in. If you keep getting better at something and you're unwilling to quit and unwilling to be discouraged, then you're going to accomplish whatever you set your mind to. I truly believe that. And if you know what you want, which is the foundation of it all, if you really like know in your heart like where you want to go, you're going to make that happen, because your decisions and your actions are going to align with that. I think a lot of people say they want certain things, but they don't really mean it and they don't really know it in their heart, and then their actions don't line up. But the people that I've seen that have had success in any area, they know what they want, and then everything on a daily lines up with that. And so for wrestling, that's what it was for me. It was, every rep I'm going to go hard. Every opportunity at practice that I get, I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to improve and get better. Same thing in competition. The competition is just, that's the fruits of your labor. It's not done there. It's done in the gym, hours and hours in the gym. And so I think that you don't have to like every aspect of it, but you have to love it. If that makes sense? It's never fun to like, it's not going to be fun to like, kill yourself in the gym and feel like you're working so hard, you're about to throw up. Like you're not going to like that, but there's a love for that. There's a passion for that. There's an enthusiasm and excitement for that. And the feeling that you get when you know how to accomplish something and you put the work in and do it, then you can just repeat that over and over and over again. And I think people are unable to, like I said, associate the work with the result. For me, fortunately, at a young age, I realized, oh, if I work hard, if I do these things right, if I listen to my dad and my mentors and just do what they say, I'm going to get what I want. So I think people need to build a stronger association of like, hey, the work, the result is a byproduct of the work. And then when you get past that, you really start to love the work, and that becomes the main focus, not the result, which then is going to take you to an even higher level.
Yeah, that's real. I feel the same way. Just like me doing this, reaching out. I love interviewing people. I love sports, and that's how I move. I move. You work hard, eventually it's gonna work. You work hard, you keep God first, eventually it's gonna work. But like you stated, you did go to Penn State, which of course dominancy. You were 20-3. You won 3 national championships. You won 2 at 184 and the other one at 197, which is crazy. You were Big Ten Athlete of the Year while Micah Parsons was at your school. I'm gonna highlight that.
Let them know.
Yeah. And you won the Heisman of football, or the Heisman of wrestling, the Dan Hodges Trophy, which crazy. Just if people can realize what that means in the sport of wrestling, It's ridiculous. And I'm not gonna lie, you had my freshman year teacher. We were watching all of y'all's. At the time, I didn't watch wrestling.
Okay.
We watched everything. I'm like, yo, who is it? Like, who is this? He was geeking because he's from Pennsylvania, so he was geeking.
Okay.
But would you like to tell me a little bit about your college experience? What that was like? Like you said you got better there. So
Yeah. Yeah. So college was such a crazy time. I felt like I finished high school, and my goal as a kid, coming up from 6, 7, 8 years old was I want to be a 4-time state champion. I want to be a 4-time undefeated national champion in college. And like, that's what I thought about day in, day out. Like that was my main focus from a very young age. And so I finished high school and I was super motivated to get to college. And I made a lot of decisions about how I was going to live my life in college before I even got there. So, my senior year of high school, probably halfway through my senior year, I really started to lock in and like focus on preparing for that next level. And so I committed myself before I got to college to, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to be partying. I'm going to be focused on my goals. And I'm going to, get this done. And so I think that because I made those decisions before I got there, it was very easy for me to go through and stay aligned and continue to do what I said I was going to do. I think a lot of people coming in, they don't really have a strong idea of what they want their experience to be like. And so they start to kind of float through their experience and, do different things and maybe get distracted from what they really want. And so, for me, it was really big to know beforehand I was going to do that. I didn't know how, but I knew that that's what I was committing myself to. And so when I got to school at Penn State, I was immediately surrounded by the best of the best, our coaches, the other guys on the team, even the guys in my year, my recruiting class, Shakur, Anthony Cov3rd, Jason Nolf, Nick Nevels, like these guys were the best in the high school. And so we right away just started pushing each other, and it was iron sharpens iron. And I think like back to that time as an 18-year-old kid coming in, there were so many times where I just got my butt kicked and I would be so mad. I was literally talking about this the other day to guys in practice. Like I would leave practice, and I'm a very competitive person. So I'd leave practice literally like steaming, like about to like cry because I'm just like getting destroyed. And it wasn't okay with me. I was just like, nah, like that's not how this is going to go. And I saw myself and where I wanted to be, and I knew like I was going to get there. But there was a lot of frustration in the process of like I want to be there now. And I knew it, but I think I turned that frustration into motivation. So I was able to use that as fuel. So, if I got my butt kicked on Monday, I'd come back Tuesday fired up. Like that ain't happened to me again. Like, let's get it. Let's get better. Let's improve. And so I used it as motivation, used it as fuel. And that carried me, I would say, for my first couple years. Really into winning a national title as a sophomore. And when I won the nationals, it was a really crazy feeling because my freshman year, I had gone the whole year, basically been the best guy at the weight, and I ended up making the finals and taking second. And that was really, it was so disappointing for me because, as I said earlier, my goal was to be a 4-time national champion. And when I lost as a freshman, now it's like, that's not even an option for me. Like I got to go 3 more years. But my goals ruined basically. And so, I had to fight through, depression and a lot of, just frustration and being really mad and angry at myself. And, just maybe a little bit of a chip in my confidence to where I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I reset my goals and ended up going the next year, doing really well, winning the national title. And that was so big for me because I realized in that moment that, right after the winning at the championships, I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Like, I can't believe I did this. Like, this is so great. And then the next day I was like, oh, like I still feel good, but like not quite as good. And then a week later I was like, yeah, I don't really care anymore. Like it's on to the next. And so I felt the devastation of a loss in that big moment. And then I felt the happiness and the joy of a win. And what it really taught me is that those things fade. The wins and the losses, they're important, but they're such a small part of what is really the bigger picture. And that just helped me to actually free myself up and not be so hard on myself on the wins and losses, and really just focus on my love for the sport and improving and getting better. And that just took me to like way higher levels. I felt like my wrestling improved so much because I wasn't so anxious and tense and tight all the time. I was just free and happy and enjoying it and having fun and doing it for the love of it, not for the accomplishments. And so really, you know, that was kind of such a big pivotal point in my life, because I changed my view of myself. I changed my view of my day-to-day of what I'm trying to do. And I was able to just have more fun, be more grateful, more joyful in life, and work even harder. And my results were even better than I could have expected because of that. You know, when you focus so much on the result, you really lose sight of how you're going to get there. And it's all about the journey, about the process, about daily presence, you know, being present every day and in the moment, rather than thinking about the past or thinking about the future. Just get the most out of yourself right here, right now. And so through my college experience, I was able to learn those things and take those lessons into, you know, every area of my life, whether that's my fighting, whether that's my family, whether that's business. You know, I can take those lessons and apply those things to anything else and accomplish whatever I set my mind to. And really grateful for that. And I would say the thing I'm most grateful for in my college experience is being able to do that and go through those lessons with my best friends. So, you know, Shakur, Anthony, Jason Nolf, these guys are the guys that I'm closest to, you know, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to go through with those guys is like such a blessing. And now we're all living in different places, you know, but we stay really close with each other. And anytime we get to see each other, it's like, it's the best, you know, it's so much fun. So I feel like those lessons are really like incredibly valuable to me, and the relationships even more so that I was able to create.
Yeah, that's real. The one thing that stood out to me was when you said, like, you lost, you felt the loss, you went through it all, then you won, and you were like, just not enough. It's just, and that's kind of how, like, I move with things, because, like, of course, you know, you got to, you know, hype yourself up, because who's not going to? But it's like you got to reset, because if you just get fixated and just the one win, you're gonna crumble. That's all you have to back up on. So
100%.
that was something that stood out. And then also, yeah, like, you've been to the kickball game. I'm still trying to find my way to the kickball game, man.
That's the most competitive environment I've been in.
Bro, I haven't been, but I'm already knowing, because Shakur's sister Aaliyah, who's my best friend, tells me all about it. I'm like, bro, I gotta pull up one day.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
One day.
It's the best.
And then we move on to you actually get to the UFC. So how did that even come about? What happened to where you were like, okay, I'm gonna be able to do this? Because now you're able to use your hands. So how did it go from, by the way, you used your hands to get the knockout in the last fight you had at the White House, which we'll touch on later. But how did you get like that? Where did it come from? Okay, now instead of just taking somebody down, I'm actually going to knock this guy out. You know what I mean? With these.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man. I was always real interested in fighting, and I got my like competitive, you know, drive and that type of stuff in wrestling. But I was always like in the back of my mind, like, oh, like I kind of like fighting, like I'm interested in it. Like I wasn't really afraid to, like, if a match got scrappy or kids got scrappy in practice or whatever it was, like I was ready to go. And so, you know, I remember actually in middle school, a lot of the wrestling tournaments that I would go to, it was kind of, I would say some of them were like, you know, in a little bit rougher areas and stuff. And so you would have your wrestling match in the main gym, and then you'd go to the back hallways of the school, and kids would be fighting. Like that was just like normal stuff. And so if you did 4 wrestling matches, you'd also do 3 or 4 fights. Like, and I got thrown in there, and I was like, yeah, like I'm about it. Like, let's go. So I would just be scrapping with other kids, and it was normal to me. It was just fun, and it was exciting. And so in the back of my mind, I always knew like that could be a path for me. And then I graduated college. I ended up, trying out for the Olympic team in 2021. I didn't make the team, and I decided that I had
Wait a
decided.
minute, Tom.
Yeah,
How did you not make the team?
yeah, it's tough, man. It's a competitive sport. I think for the Olympic team, there's 6 weight classes, and so the guy that I lost to ended up winning Olympic gold medal, and he was a very, very tough opponent. So I think that for me, with my wrestling career, it didn't necessarily end the way I wanted it to, but I think that was a good thing because it allowed me to stay hungry and motivated going into fighting. And I felt like I still have something to prove, to myself that, I still have that competitive desire and that competitive edge. So, it didn't work out the way I expected it to, but, I think in the grand scheme of things, it was a blessing. So I'm grateful for that. And into my fighting career, I've just, again, I think my whole life I've had internal motivation. And so I still feel that very strongly. I would say I feel that stronger than ever, the internal motivation to compete. But I think that it's for the right reasons. It's because I love it and I enjoy it, and I've been blessed. God's given me a lot of, talent, opportunities, people that have helped me. And so, now with fighting, it's something that is just so fun. I'm just so glad I get to do this. Like when I get to go train, it's the best part of the day, and I really just enjoy it. And so, I think when I go out to fight, one of the things that really helps me as far as not like being super tense and not just like, grabbing the guy, holding on to him, being able to like throw my hands more, is just not being afraid, because I'm not really worried whether I win or lose. I'm there to perform my best. And if that's good enough for the win, then great. If not, then I need to get better. And I'm not going to quit until I achieve my goals and get what I want. And that's to be a world champion. And so, I'm not worried about the bumps along the way. I know there's going to be bumps. I know there's going to be ups and downs in my career, the same as there was in wrestling starting at 5 years old. There was ups and downs, but I know if I stay at it and stay focused and keep getting better, then I'm going to get what I want. So it's really just a matter of time, and I'm just going to enjoy that time while I can. And at some point, in my life, all the athletics and that stuff is going to be over, and I'm going to move on. So I just try to be present and have fun and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's real. I was looking at middleweight, and you got some heavy hitters in there. Sean Strickland. I can't say his name, but Hazmaz Shem? I can't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I watched the fight with Sean Strickland. I said, no way Sean Strickland wins this fight. Goes out there, wins the fight. I'm like, dog, this is crazy. Yeah. But right now you're ranked number 15. But I believe that's some BS after the finish you just got at the White House card. So tell me a little bit, like, what was it like training for the White House card? What was it like being in the atmosphere? Because you were on the White House lawn. And when I went in 8th grade, we couldn't even touch the lawn. We got anywhere close, they had the guns out ready for us. So what was that like? And seeing the president, like, a lot of people have things to say about the president, but it's still the president.
For sure.
Like, what was that like?
Dude, it was so crazy. Honestly, if there wasn't so many pictures and videos and stuff, I wouldn't believe that it really happened, just because of how insane it seemed. And I think that, going through it, it was tough because I'm very focused on what I need to do out there and very focused on accomplishing the task at hand. But I felt like I was able to somewhat enjoy the whole fight week and the moment and everything like that. Probably because of my wrestling career and having competed so many times in big and exciting environments. And so I felt like grateful that I was able to be present and enjoy it. But it was just the craziest thing, man. Like I don't even know like how to describe it, because it seemed like a movie or something. Like it really just doesn't seem real. And I think the coolest part for me was being able to go through it with my team, my coaches and teammates and stuff. And like, they're right there with me in my corner, behind me as I'm walking out through the whole week, there with me. And, had all my family and friends come out. And that was just like such a blessing, like so exciting to like do it with those people. And I always, whenever I talk about fights and the experience of fights, I always compare it to a wedding, because it's one of the only times in your life where you'll have all these people and family come from all this different place, all to one location, and they're like
Hmm.
they're all getting together for you. And so it kind of feels like a wedding in that way, where, there I got family, cousins, friends travel in from all over, and they're there together, and then I get to see them interact, and it's just so fun. And so I'm really, really grateful for that experience. And it it feels weird now because it's like, what do you do next, right? Like, that's probably the biggest event in UFC history. And I went out there, I had a great performance, which I felt really excited about because I was definitely put a lot of work in and I was prepared and ready to go. But now it's like there was a little bit of a letdown after, because you're like, all right, what do we do next? But now I'm back in the gym training and, resetting and getting ready to start making a crack at the, top 10, top 5, and then the title. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
For sure, for sure, for sure. I mean, you had an amazing career so far. Of course, you got our support for sure, for sure. Yeah, what's the call? Shakur was telling me about his like wrestling league that's about to happen. Like
Yes.
about to come out. I don't know if we're able to talk about that, but
Yeah.
like, how do you feel about that? You think that's cool? Like, what's your thoughts on it?
It's awesome, man. It's so cool as a real like wrestling diehard. It's something that's been needed for a long time. Like, there's never been a professional avenue for wrestlers, and guys, you need that, because I think wrestling is such an exciting and entertaining sport, and you just have to be able to get the right matchups and put it in the right environment and make it more fan friendly, which is what the league is called, Real American Freestyle, or RAF. So that's what RAF's doing. And um, I was actually able to compete in the inaugural event last August, which was
Mm.
really, really cool. And now I'm going to compete again on August 22nd. So it's nice for me because, one, I love wrestling. I love the fans. I love to be in the community. And two, it keeps me sharp. I've only been able to compete about twice a year for the UFC. And so, getting a couple wrestling matches in between those fights helps, me stay competition ready. And I think that it's great. The how much they've grown and improved in the last year is unbelievable. They're putting on events, selling out the shows, sold out crowds, streamed with millions of views, and they're doing it all around the world. There's an event this weekend that they're doing actually in Europe, which is really cool. And then they're going to go, to Japan, go to India, go to Russia. They're going to go all over the place, Abu Dhabi. So that's what I think is exciting, is they're really trying to put wrestling on the in the mainstream. And I'm just glad I get to be a part of it in any way. And so, I think guys are going to start to have careers after college in wrestling, which is really a great thing.
I think I got three more questions. I just thought of one. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
absolutely. No problem.
The first one, bro, what is it like meeting and being around Dana White? That guy looks cool.
Yeah.
To me, he looks cool. He brings energy. He just got into boxing, which I love boxing.
Mhm.
He just got with Zuffa boxing, and it seems that he's going to be paying the boxers what they truly deserve. Because sometimes when it comes to boxing, it's all about who they fight, how much money they make.
Mhm.
They really haven't made the Gervonta Tank Davis money. They haven't made the Mike Tyson, the Floyd Mayweather type money. You know, so I think that's pretty cool doing that. But what's it like just being around him? What kind of motivation, and energy does he bring?
Yeah, man. I mean, you can tell that he's a guy that he's just so good at what he does, so good at the promotional aspect of the sport, and has just a wealth of experience and knowledge when it comes to the business side of the sport. And I feel like um, really, really grateful that I'm able to be in the UFC now at this time, because Dana, from where it was, he's made it one of the biggest sports in the world. And I think that it's so cool to be part of events where I feel like fights, everybody wants to go, everybody wants to go to events, right? Like, I look out in the
Right.
crowd and I see, celebrities and actors and athletes, and, obviously, like, President Trump loves fighting. Like, everyone watches, everyone loves it. And a massive reason why it is what it is because it's Dana White. And so, you know, it's exciting to just try to like kind of pick apart, how he's been able to do what he's done. And I think it's just a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, putting the right people in the right places, and making stuff happen that, a lot of people probably doubted, right? Like being willing to go against the flow and, listen to your instincts rather than listen to what other people are saying. And he's just a great example of that. So, I'm looking forward to a lot more fights and a lot more years with the UFC. And it's a real big honor to be able to perform under that banner. And I think making the sport even bigger than what it was when I got into it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then the second thing, or second to third question I had is, after your fight, you talked about God and you talked about your relationship with Him and the family, that family bond that you have. Normally we talk about God, but you can touch on it if you would like. You don't have to if you don't want to, but that's something we talk about on here. So if you have anything to say about that, I thought it was pretty cool
Yeah.
that you gave praise and thanks to Him after the fight and that everybody was healthy and things of that nature. So
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's my foundation, my faith, and, what that means to me, my relationship with God, that is everything. I truly feel like everything that I have is a blessing. It's not something that I'm earning. It's a lot of gifts that I've been given, and I'm so grateful for that. I think that for me, my faith, it was a part of my life growing up. My family, Sunday, go to church, pray before every meal, pray together before we go to bed and stuff. And so it was always a part of my life. When I about my senior year of high school, when I was 18, I started doing a lot more Bible studies and kind of soul searching and figuring out what I actually believed and what it meant to me outside of just, my family, and, like more of a personal decision. And that I chose to get baptized. And so I feel like that's just continued to carry me through and help me make the decisions I've made. And overall, I just feel like very blessed with everything that God's given me, every opportunity that He's provided me. And, I think that it's something that I've continued to try to strengthen and to sharpen. And, just being able to have physical tests, in the gym and in competition. I think that I rely a lot on my faith in those moments. And I don't look at it like, I go to church on Sunday and then I pray before meals and then I have fighting over here. Like it's all together, right? Like whenever I'm in the gym working or competing, I feel like I have God with me there. And that's something that I've had to learn and to get experience to understand a little bit better, because I think that people compartmentalize a lot. They want to have their faith in a box, and then they want to have their life and everything else in another box. And for me, I've worked on continuing to merge those two boxes and have them together to where my faith is something that I practice all the time, every second of the day, whether I'm, with my 2-year-old son or whether I'm in the gym training or whether I'm on a podcast. That's something that I try to have always in the back of my mind as my foundation for why I do what I do, what decisions I decide to make, and how I decide to speak. And so, I think that's something that is just the most important part of my life, the most important part of, how we carry ourselves and how we make decisions on this earth. So for me, that's the foundation for everything.
yeah, I understand. I just got baptized again because I was baptized as a child. I got baptized again May 17th. And honestly, I'm just trying to, like you said, a lot of people have it to where their life is here and God's here, and I'm trying to bring it together. I feel like I've already changed a little bit, but
Amazing.
you change when the outside people say you change, not when you say it. So
Right.
I feel like that's powerful that you said that, and that's one thing I caught watching you fight,
Mhm.
because me and Ali were like, we're gonna watch this. And mind you, she called me as I'm pulling up, and I missed you actually finishing the dude. So I was tight. I was like, bro, why would you? I was tight. She did that, and I was nasty. But the
Hilarious.
last thing, what we always do that we ask our guests is give some motivation to the kids, the people outside that are listening, that just need to hear something positive.
Hmm.
We like I said, we ask normally everybody, and now I'm asking you to give some motivational words to whoever out there, anybody.
100%. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I think that from all my experience, you know, in life and in sports and whatever it is, that the more that I experience, the more trials that I go through, I feel like one of the most important things is belief. And it's very simple, but I truly, with my whole heart, know that if you believe in yourself, then and you have a goal or something that you want to pursue, you can make it happen. You got to commit yourself to it. You got to think about it every day. You got to be, you know, absolutely positive that that's what you want. And if you know what you want, you go after it, you commit yourself to it, you can achieve it. It doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter if you know, are, you know, the wealthiest kid and you have all the money and the resources and you can get whatever you want. It doesn't matter if you have nothing. You know, you can um, make it happen if you really believe in it and believe in yourself, and you know, continue to pursue your goals and what you want with everything that you got. You can't take, you know, you can't go 99%. It's got to be 100% every day, 24/7. And that doesn't mean that everything's going to be, you know, easy and you're always going to succeed. It's actually guarantees the opposite, because if you give 100% to something, you're going to be challenging yourself and trying to get the most out of yourself. And the way that we get the most out of ourselves is through trials, through sharpening ourselves. And that's not fun. That's tough. You know, the way a knife is sharpened is it's you have to grind it against a stone, right? Like that's, imagine
Mhm.
your own body in that same way being ground against a stone. Like that's not fun. That doesn't feel good, but it's sharpening you. It's making you better. It's making you improve as a person. It's making you improve your character. And I think that if you believe it, you put the work in, things are going to work out, you know, even better than you expect. And always have faith through that process. Always have faith that God has a plan for you. God has a plan for me. He has a plan for you. He has a plan for every single person on this earth. And it's our decision whether or not we're going to trust that and follow that. And so, you know, if you decide to trust God's plan, follow it, pursue your craft with your whole heart and go for it. And then, you know, if you do that and you know that you gave your all, you can be happy at the end of the day with whatever it is that God decides to bless you with. So, you know, it doesn't matter where you start. It's about the pursuit of excellence and continue to improve and get better and strengthen your faith in the process. And I appreciate you having me on, Isaiah. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this chat for sure. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We hope to have you back, man, after you win your world title, really after your
Good.
next fight. That'd be crazy. But again, thank you for pulling up, doing this with me. I know you have stuff to do, training. Like you say, you have a fight in August,
Mm-hmm.
or a wrestling match in August. Yeah, we appreciate you. And I'm gonna definitely let you know when it goes up
Let's
and
go,
all
man.
of that.
Please
I
do.
got you. I got you. Yes, sir. I appreciate you again, Bo.
No problem. Thank you.